Discussing hedge funds and the fact that we've been seeing the SIM Capital Value Fund, which has recently been launched. In fact, it's set to be closed in early October, and it's seeking to invest in listed equities of up to 85%, and of course fixed income instruments to up to 50%, and of course that going to Nigerian Equities. Joining us now, Richard Kramer, Chairman at SIM Capital Alliance. Richard, thank you so much for your time today. Let's start off with the fact that it's basically a closed-ended fund and not an open-ended fund. What is the thinking behind this?
Well, the reason is that we are launching what's a different product in Nigeria at a time that the Securities and Exchange Commission and the Pension Commission are starting to allow unlisted securities, real estate, and things that are not strictly on the Nigerian stock exchange.
Because, Richard, open-ended funds dominate the Nigerian market at this point in time, so you're definitely going against the trend.
That's true, but we are launching a product that needs to be a closed-end fund because it will also invest in unlisted securities. And by listing a fund of this nature, we want it to be like happens on the New York Stock Exchange, that it is buyer and seller that determines the price of the fund, and it's not a daily quote as you find in an open-ended fund. In addition, we want to attract very long-term sophisticated investors into this fund and not have it a fund that's trading widely. So the closed-end fund fits that much better.
Well, the Nigerian equity market, we know, is dominated by banks, and banks have not been doing very well. They have been under the spotlight for the wrong reasons. What is your view about investing in Nigerian equities at this point in time, and do you take preference in one particular sector, given the fact that we have been seeing markets coming under pressure for the last few months?
We are taking this step at this time because the timing's right. There's been a bubble in the Nigerian Stock Exchange which is pretty much capsized at this point in time, and not only listed securities, but the ability to work in unlisted securities is a very favorable time. I think that we have to be patient as we raise this fund to put it to work in the right kind of companies at realistic prices and backing good managements in the areas where there is growth potential in this economy.
Looking at the minimum investment, it's around $3,300. Taking a look at who it's targeted at, we know that you are focusing on institutional and high net worth investors, and that pretty much including international portfolio investors as well. Just give us your view in terms of how foreign investors are viewing the Nigerian markets at this point.
I think most of the foreign investors are waiting to see how the elections come out, how some of the reforms that are happening in the banking sector, the restructuring, some of the reforms that are happening in the petroleum sector, both upstream and downstream. And this is somewhat of a waiting period and holding period on the economy. But the economy has gotten fairly robust growth from other sectors and looks like it's in relatively good shape. I would think by this time next year we will see a fairly strong Nigerian economy, and hence the raising of the fund now, so we're ready for this upsurge that we think is going to happen in the next year.
Well, you're talking about lots of opportunities coming to the fore, and of course next year being a very key element for you. Private equity investment opportunities, very quickly, your view.
We have seen some very good opportunities, and our pipeline of deals is better than it's ever been, partly because the banks are not lending like they used to, and there still are excellent opportunities as they somewhat deregulate the various parts of the economy, address the power situation in Nigeria, open up the petroleum sector to local content, deregulate the downstream. There's many good reforms underway that will pay off next year. And many of the people seeing these deals are coming to us now with the need for equity capital and even mezzanine type funding.
Richard,